Popular in the knife culture these days is the Squiggly. The Squiggly used to be in just knives, but now a lot of pocket dump pieces that aren't knives are full of fancy random colors and lines that don't intersect. These signify wealth and taste for people living above their means and their curated collections of things they pretend to use more than you do. Now, purple by itself doesn't cut it anymore, and a real fancy knife or everyday carry item needs to pull from at least one of the main Squiggly groups, like Damascus, timascus, marbled carbon fiber, mokuti, Damasteel. There's probably some others, I'm sure, so you got to learn them all to sound like an expert in materials, like, for example, identifying what a fluted flake moon resin scale looks like. And if one of those Squigglies is in purple or pink, you'll have at least a few artisan paracorded wrists lining up to buy it. Like this knife here from Internet Purveyor, formerly known as Massdrop, which dropped the Mass, and now they're just the Drop. Get it? It's the Orca from Eric Ochs. He's the designer, and it's manufactured by Reate in China and pimped by the Drop. But before we go any further, let's generate some blue lines and examine the dimensions, like the overall length and weight. Thought about making this part, just a title card. Blade size and cutting edge. Just leaving it on screen for a few seconds. You could pause it if you like, if you care about this section. Handle size and grip area. But now I'm worried people are used to the pageantry of the whole thing. Spine thickness and handle thickness. Also, maybe I like new viewers asking what the deal is with the blue lines and if there's something deeper to understand. Tallnesses and the flipper. I wish I had a little time to squigglify the lines. That would have been nice. A little nice touch for this video. Anyway, the Massdrop Orca is a real nice looking knife that comes in a few colorways. Last year, Massdrop asked me, in exchange for featuring this knife on my Instagram, they'd give me a choice of a knife and a color. So, of course, I chose the purplest of the Squigglies, because the proper thing to do is order the fillet when someone treats you to Sizzler. Do they have fillet at Sizzler? Make sure you share your favorite Sizzler story in the comments section below. But I think the posts may have been a little on the nose for the Drop, and I haven't heard from them since. So goes it with this channel. And also, another takeaway here is that it took me a year to review the knife. Massdrop never asked for a review. I was never required to do one. But, I had some things that needed to be said on YouTube. I'm only a little sad I never heard back. Not real sad. I bared my analytics for them, okay? But that's not my problem. The Orca features a whale hunting friendly harpoon-shaped blade and a flat grind. The blade is made from RWL34 steel. The company Damasteel makes their steel, although it's not one of their squigglified varieties of, Damasteel. It is the only knife I've ever owned in the steel, and I'll link Pete's test on the steel at the end of this video because I never used a knife enough to have sharpened it. It's similar in its composition to CPM 154, according to Pete, and the steel composition chart. And if you're not subscribed to him and you're subscribed to me, you're an asshole. Let's be honest. The blade was sharp and cut reasonably well. Not amazingly slicey, more of a general purpose, everyday carry than a chef's knife. Deployment. Often standard in the Squiggly knives, you get a ball bearing system for quick, fidget-friendly deployment. This is a flipper, so you hit the tab and pop. The tab isn't sharp, but I've definitely felt more comfortable tab geometries. I feel like I'm missing an oversized wristwatch. Anyone else feel this? The D10 is strongish and gives it a good pop when you hit the tab. You don't have to be a supplement social media bro to get it to open by flinging it downward. So the D10 is strong, but not as strong as it could be. Most knives don't really pass this popping downward test anyway. Deployment is smooth and consistent, and I'll be honest, needed a little bit of lube to enjoy it more, like most things. Gave it a harder pop after I lubed it. Now the thing that kind of sucks though is the lock disengagement of the liner lock. It normally pinches your finger between the lock and the scale. Not enough for a big owie or nothing, but more like a slight little pinch of your finger meat that gets irritating with a little bit of fidgeting. Most knives don't do this, but this one does. It's not like it hurts or anything, but I could see someone really blowing it out of proportion in the comments section at the Drop. The handle is a decent sized, but average to larger hands will need to use the aft section of the grip to put their pinky post bump, to avoid crowded fingers. Do you see what I mean? I don't think I'm describing any of those parts right. All around the handle you have a combination of Squigglies in purple. like the mokuti pivot collar and the purpled out titanium liners, and the marbled and partially stippled carbon fiber handle scales. For a $350 knife, though, there needed to be a little more attention paid to the tumbling and the chamfering areas. It's pretty good, but not perfect. You know, be more like Hawk Knives Reate, especially if you're going to charge this much for it, because the jerks who buy these things notice them, okay? Nothing too harsh, but not as mellow of a hand-fondling experience as I'd like, per the amount of squigglies included. Clip is nice and sculpted, slides into the pocket smoothly, about 6/10 of an inch sticks out of the pocket while carrying. But that's fine, you know, you want people to notice your fancy bullshit. They probably won't, but, you know, that's not their problem, because you're the one who opted for the extra $150 worth of purple squigglies over the standard model. The problem with fancy knives with the fine finishing is that the fanciness dulls once you start using it and bumping into things and scratching the clip like I do. That's why you should never carry or use your pocket knives. The clip is very nice though, the right amount of springiness, and it looks swirly as hell. Comparisons, mostly in purple of course. First, the Orca. There's nothing terrible about the knife. I think it's good looking and well made. You know, very good looking in fact. I just happen to think there were a few negatives about the overall knife that warrant consideration if you're going to drop the kind of money it costs. The pinchy part between the scales and the lock, and a little more consideration in knocking down some of those harsher edges. And of course tab geometry for fidgeting friendliness. So as an alternative, let me show you some knives I kept because I got rid of this one. The Paramilitary 2. See, it comes in purple, and there are all sorts of fancy scales and steels you can get in this for $120 to $200. Thing great about this knife is it's very comfortable in the handle department, and an attention is paid to the harsh edges, and it's extremely fidgetable. Since most use in modern pocket knives is the non-cutting variety, nowadays, it's important that you can fidget with it. As in, how much fun are you going to have before you post it as a catch and release? Now the Benchmade 941. No purple, but light opulent carbon fiber. Extremely fidgetable. God, I hate that word. About $250 if you're going to go with this version of the 940. It's a great classic pocket knife, and it's hard to beat. It's a keeper for me. Now the we-made Massdrop Keen. Knife is very purple and well made. I really liked the knife and paid about $140 for it. Probably never getting rid of this one either. I reviewed all of these knives, so check those videos out for the full details. And we're going to wrap it up quickly. Now you might think this knife is overpriced and not worth it, and that's fair. But the knife has extremely rich materials. Like, if you can find a knife with mokuti accents, titanium liners, and carbon fiber scales for much less than this, you're a liar. I wanted to get a mokuti clip for my urban survival gear pen, and it was like $80 for reference. So the knife is priced pretty fairly when considering its ingredients, as ridiculous as they are. However, a $350 knife needs to have its fit and finish and the locking mechanism design flaws fully worked out for it to be worth the materials it's made from. On the other hand, maybe if the design really spoke to me, I'd overlook its flaws. That said, sometimes materials are more fancy window dressing than real durable structural design choices. I guess titanium weighs less than steel liners, and carbon fiber is a lightweight choice for the scales. So is G10, of course. The pragmatist in me says a $350 production knife is overpriced, especially when made at a large manufacturer like Reate. Although Spyderco says, "Hey girl, you looking at my $550 production paysan over here? I'm a perfect knife, I promise." And then Shiro, they come behind you over your shoulder and whisper something sexy in your ear. You can't quite make it out. Is it Russian or Chinese? Whatever they're offering, it's going to cost you $700 and someone may be recording it. If you're buying something solely for reliability and doing work, you can get by for a lot less. No one needs mokuti, unless they're trying to grow their subscribers, of course. You could also try pry bars with their lanyards and beads, because those work too. Anyway, say hi to the patrons. They're saying hi right back. If you like this channel, follow me on Instagram. And here, like, comment, click that bell, subscribe. You can buy a t-shirt or mug or sticker if you want. Or you could even go over to Patreon's website and think about patronizing me for about $1 a month. Anyway, thanks for watching.